Today, we invite you to listen in on a conversation with a group of local commercial real estate veterans.
Yeah.
We only asked 2 questions, looking at the Treasure Valley. First, what are your biggest concerns about growth, and what are you most excited about?
My concern is creating an environment where the young, smart people are going to want to be here. And how do you create that environment where those young, smart people want to be here? Because if they're here, I believe the companies are going to be here. When you talk to a company who's looking at moving to Boise, it seems to me that their biggest constraint is, how do I hire 100 sharp engineers in Boise, right?
I would agree. I think we continue to struggle to find, in the construction industry, craft workers and trade workers, and we're seeing that number shrink. And it isn't that we're losing them faster than we need them. It's that, we just don't have new blood coming into the industry.
As I call it, a human capital problem. There's plenty of capital in Boise and definitely looking to come in, but it doesn't matter from the trenches, from the brokerage side of the world, whether you're talking about support staff, trades for Neil, specialties for Scott, and on down the line, we are just flat out of people.
And we're finding that it's really hard to recruit at the craft level. Younger people graduating from high school are not picking the trades as a career.
We have a very low unemployment rate. Everybody knows that. So it's really, how are we going to address that problem from the trades on up? And we've got the educational channels. I believe we just start to have to pay more attention to it and start focusing that. And from that, we'll be able to create this environment that our kids want to come back to. That's one of my goals as an entrepreneur, is I want all of our kids to have an opportunity to come back to Boise. I think we're getting there.
We've got to get those people who go away to college to come back to Boise. And to do that, we've got to create a place that they want to be, which kind of goes into the second point, is we've got to come up with motivations to stop the sprawl.
What I'm seeing right now is, because of what's happening in terms of the living wages that are here, many of the people are, you get on the road coming out here this morning, and everybody's coming in from Nampa, Caldwell, Kuna, Star, Middleton, into Boise, but they're going out and living in those same communities in the evening. Those communities, as a result, are growing, and that's where we're going to start seeing the residential construction, which then fuels the schools, which then fuels all the support industry that goes on there, and it's going to start sucking the life out of Boise. So
the concern for me is twofold, really. It's the labor market and attracting people to both the trade and the professional side, and then it's also the infrastructure. I mean, you touched on it, but for smart development, we have to have infrastructure that keeps up.
I'm talking sheer construction costs. It's very challenging to put deals together today, and it's not Neil's fault or anything. It's just the fact of the industry right now. And we've got this disparity between where our rents are and what it's costing to provide that space for the businesses.
I don't want to look back on the Treasure Valley 20 or 30 years from now and go, I wish we would have done that, or created, avoided some of these pinch points that we've got building in the Treasure Valley, because the growth hasn't stopped.
One thing that we can't do, that I see that we've done, because of cost, what we've done is we've allowed things to get built that frankly shouldn't be built. You build a building and it's there for 100 years. I mean, and what you've seen, unfortunately, in Boise is things get built that shouldn't be there, that don't really help the urban fabric of Boise.
We do see some projects that come in with questionable design, questionable materials, just a lot of things, but we're bound by what the black and white is in the ordinance to let them through, and we need to really push that harder earlier on at some point, or get those abilities into the committees that make those decisions, and encourage these people to do a better job.
So how do we put those ordinances in place? I mean, the good news, I think, is that our mayor and our city council get it. And we've got a good mayor, we've got a good city council, and they understand it. They understand, I mean, the things that they're looking at now with the streetcar and the library and the baseball stadium, regardless of how you feel about those things, are the right things to be looking at.
We really need to take it seriously at all levels. And there are many people working in different areas, I think, that are going to make that happen. I'm very encouraged by it.
I feel like we're spread out a lot more, so we have a much broader footprint, a much broader base. We've now got a growing software group that's growing. We've got additional manufacturing job, probably in the last 5 years, the most manufacturing jobs I've seen since I've been here, and stretching all the way out to Caldwell. And a lot of those are choosing to locate where their employees are, which somewhat feeds back into these other topics. So I think that's an exciting thing, but just a lot more diversity for employment opportunities in different industries, and then also geographically. So those are a couple things that I'm excited about.
As we all know, Boise is a fabulous lifestyle city, right? You ride your mountain bike from your home or whatever. It's a fabulous lifestyle city, and so I think that we will continue to benefit from that. And regardless of what happens with the economy, you're going to see people wanting to move to lifestyle cities at all ages. Even the retirees want to now live in lifestyle cities. So it's very different from the way it used to be, and that's exciting for Boise.
The outlook is pretty dang good. We're not seeing any indications of, any kind of major slowdown. We are seeing that it's feeling like, to Peter's point on the construction side and the cost of the construction side, we are feeling like we're on the backside of the bubble. So we're coming down off that bubble that went through the Treasure Valley. So we're starting to see some stabilization and some, people holding prices for longer. There's just not as much work out there in the system as there was for the past 3 to 4 years. I'm not saying there's any kind of slowdown. I'm just saying it's more stable and more of a steady stream in the pipeline. So, I think if rents can come up a little bit and interest rates can stay low, I think it's, we're set up to do really, really well for a couple of years.